Dragon Eye Mortist, Part 1. Whatever Vida expected to be doing this morning, it sure wasn't hurling head over heels through an unknown void. Like getting sucked down a river, she tumbled uncontrollably, no memory of how she got here and no idea where here even was. Time seemed to have no meaning here, space was nothing but a force pulling her along. She had given up struggling, spending her time pulling mind into and out of her soul. What else was there to do? Only when she was unceremoniously dumped into the middle of a field, landing face first in the grass, did she come back to her senses. And then the voices start. Asterisk ding. Asterisk welcome to Palos. Name, Vida, race, N equals pound double dagger paragraph O circumflex. A tilde, age, 16, time remaining on system locks, minus 72,435, 53, 22, asterisk ding. Asterisk congratulations. You've survived your early years, and the system is now fully unlocked for you. What? What the fuck? Vida snapped, jerking her head up and looking around. Ooh. We finally caught one. A sing-song voice announced. What is this thing? Another voice grumbled. You were supposed to get a human. This is a human. I don't think it is. Who's there? Vida shouted, trying to feel around. But there was nothing. No souls, anywhere. It felt like she was still in the void. Asterisk ding. Asterisk congratulations. You've earned your first class, Child of Nothing. Missed, Child of Nothing. A starter class for EA asterisk A circumflux greater than N pound ows 9 ow slash yen with 1/4 plus minus sign. You bet. Plus 4 free stat points per level. Asterisk ding. Asterisk congratulations. Child of Nothing has leveled up to level 1 greater than 8. Plus 4 free stat points per level from your class, plus 10 mana for your race per level, plus 1 speed and plus 1 dexterity from your element per level. Asterisk ding. Asterisk congratulations. You can now advance your class. Class? What's a class? Vida growled, standing up to look around. Who is saying all this? Where am I? Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Observe. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Identify. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Meditate. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Lying. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Conning. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Stealing. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Walking. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Running. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Climbing. Ow. Ow, stop dinging. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Gymnastics. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Throwing. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Dodging. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Polearms. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Jumping. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Spotting. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Survival. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Knives. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Combat Reflexes. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Poison Resistance. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Pain Resistance. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Food Prep. What is this? Stop yelling at me. Oh, the poor thing is confused. The first voice tittered. We should probably just choose for her, the second commented. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Mood Detection. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Light Detection. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Food Detection. Asterisk ding. Asterisk you've unlocked the general skill Stomach Capacity. Ding. You've unlocked the general skill Monster Muncher. Ding. You've unlocked the general skill Corruption. Ding. You've unlocked the general skill Blasphemy. Ding. You've unlocked the general skill Cannibalism. Ding. You've unlocked the general skill Pedicide. Vida snapped. Really? You want that one? Asked the first voice. Well, I'm not sure it will come in handy, but if you insist. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Vigilant. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Adaptable. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Active. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Learning. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Loyal. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Dedicated. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Intimidating. Ding. You've unlocked the passive skill Cute. Error. Skill selection override. Right, well, we're choosing Pedicide. And she'll probably need polearms. The second voice mumbled. Stealing. The first voice insisted. Stealing is fun. Right, okay, stealing. Probably survival? Oh, and loyal, we should make her loyal. Give her corruption. We are not giving her corruption. We're already going to be in trouble for this. Conning, then. Everyone loves a good con. I can't wait to see what she does with that. Right, conning. And? Intimidating, in case she gets delayed. And cute. There was a pause. You want her to be intimidating and cute? Yes. Shut up and show yourselves. Vida shouted furiously, finally scrambling to her feet. At least all her gear was intact, even if something seemed to be blocking her soul sense. She looked up, down, left, right, trying to find the source of the voices. She felt nothing, but everywhere she looked things just seemed more wrong. A bright blue sky, devoid of even a single floating stone. Some kind of super bright pain orb floated up there instead, causing suffering whenever she tried to look at it. Show ourselves. One of the sing-song voices cooed, high-pitched yet oddly androgynous. You'll never see us if you merely look around. Because we're on top of your head. Squeaked the other, suddenly leaning down over Vida's face. Ack. Vida jumped, smacking at her scalp as the two giggling creatures leaped off her head and fluttered into the sky, buzzing around her. They looked like tiny, doll-sized humanoids, naked yet genderless, dashing about on dragonfly wings as they laughed at Vida's ineffectual attempts to swat them. Where am I? She demanded. What do you want with me? This one does not listen to the system. One giggled. Foolish, foolish. You must listen to survive here. You are on Palos. We brought you here to send you on a grand quest. The grandest of quests. Atop the spire of stone, a treasure unmatched in beauty and worth awaits. In the direction of the setting sun you will find it guarded by a beast most foul, most hungry, most vile. There, you will slay the creature and claim your prize. Only then will the champion be sent home. Fuck off. Vida snapped. If you can teleport me all the way to Crazy Land, then deal with the stupid creature yourself. Just zap it a few thousand feet into the air and leave me alone. Seriously, this could not make any less sense. Vida was becoming increasingly convinced that she was hallucinating, possibly under some sort of conamancy spell. Two tiny, flying, riddle-talking bug people definitely pushed things well over the cliff of possibility. The prize. The prize. We cannot claim the prize, for the hero claims the prize. The two fairies sing, clasping hands and dancing in a circle in the air. The champion from beyond the world shall quest and seek the prize. Nope, no, Vida grumbled, starting to walk off. Fuck this capita shit, I'm out. How do I wake up? Well, first, you go to sleep, one of the Fae answered, turning to face her with a grin. More fucking riddles. Vida complained. No, the Fae answers. Initiate class advancement. What is a Error. Class advancement override. With a snap of the phase fingers, Vida found the ground, flying forward to meet her once again, unconsciousness rapidly approaching. "I told you we should have gotten one from Earth," the other Fae complained. "They always pick these things up faster." "Eh?" their companion responded. "Call our sibling. We can do that too." Elaine groaned and rolled over in her sleep. She'd been missing home, and was sleeping with her mom's pendant in her hands. Peaceful sleep eluded her though, as she was tormented by nightmares. By failure, by death dealt to her friends and dealt by her own hand. Her hand tightened, like it was fighting the grip of someone strangling her, then loosened, dropping her pendant. 3 fairies popped in around her. "She's unprotected. Get her." The one the size of a hummingbird yelled, pointing at Elaine. "Just because you're the tallest," grumbled the short one, weaving her hands, dusting Elaine with power. "Wait. The quest. We must tell her the quest." The tallest one, still hummingbird-sized, said. "All right. Flowers. Gotta get the flowers." The middle one said. "Idiot. You didn't make it into a riddle." The shortest one reprimanded, buzzing her wings with crossed arms. "And now, I steal the sun." The middle one interrupted, snapping her fingers. "Vanishing Elaine. Maybe we should have woken her up, before telling her the quest." The tallest one said, tapping her chin, then shrugging. "Ah well. It's her fault for sleeping." Elaine woke up 4 feet off the ground, and falling fast. She cursed a foul invective, trying to activate Teleria right before she landed. She hadn't slept with her sandals on though, so the skill failed to activate, dumping a surprised Elaine face first into the dirt. She immediately flipped up, on guard, ready to fight against whatever had attacked her. Being teleported around wasn't exactly a friendly move. She narrowed her eyes at the still and silent jungle around her, mentally noting that the sun was high in the sky. She had been moved a long distance. Or massively slept in. No system notifications. Elaine felt her heartbeat pick up, as she quickly tried to check her status. She breathed a sigh of relief as it popped up. Just to make sure, she flickered through a few active skills really fast. Mantle still worked, Shine still lit things up, and Elaine pointed up and fired off a Nova. Perfect. Her skills still worked. Her mind was entirely intact, this time. A bush rustled, and Elaine whirled around, seeing a human-sized dinosaur flying through the air towards her. Its feathers were broken and patchy, but its claws were long and its teeth were vicious. Bullet time activated as Elaine leaned back, firing a narrow beam of radiance through the raptor's head. It drilled through in an instant, but Elaine didn't get a kill notification. Cursing, she fired off a Nova, throwing up Mantle of the Stars behind the skill, protected by a mystical wall of shimmering stars. Nova landed with a roaring explosion, blasting the raptor to pieces in a fiery, golden inferno, yet there was still no kill notification. How tough is that thing? Elaine cursed it to herself as 5 more raptors leapt at her from the bush. 5 more headshots, no notifications, and Elaine blew another Nova at point-blank range, swearing as her shield needed to protect her from her own skill as well, burning mana she couldn't afford to waste. Everything settled for a moment, and Elaine took a look around, seeing 6 burned and broken bodies laying on the earth jungle floor in pieces. Elaine picked the one that seemed to be in the most pieces, and piece by piece, started to incinerate it. Halfway through, it clicked. Puppets. Or body hijackers. Or zombies. Wait, it can't be body hijackers, they would have gotten killed. Spore jackers. Elaine threw her hands up in frustration. Either way. Not a living creature, no kill notifications. She moodily kicked one of the dead raptor's bodies. And no experience by the look of it. Great. Just great. She complained, continuing to talk to herself. Helped distract her from the fact that she had no idea where she was, or which way home was. Still, this was hardly the first time Elaine had been almost literally thrown into a jungle with no equipment to survive, so she didn't bother to waste any time panicking about it. A screech made Elaine turn her head, and immediately she saw dozens, if not hundreds of raptors storming across the jungle towards her. That part was new. Elaine started running away, to give herself more time and space against the raptors. She blindly fired novels behind her as fast as she could. It wasn't like she needed to aim to hit 5, 6, 7 of them at a time. As the dead started to fall, however, their master took notice. The explosions also helped get her attention. The heck sort of monster did they find? Vita mumbled to herself, planting a shard of her soul into yet another dinosaur corpse and feeling it spread throughout the inside like the branches of some ethereal tree. The body rose, her power flowing through it. The dreg stood and waited for instruction. "Follow me and attack on my command," Vita ordered, drawing her spear. Each of the dozens of dinosaurs in earshot moved into formation, surrounding their master in as even a formation as possible. Voice of command and coordinated horde at work, she supposed. Dreg zombies were infuriatingly stupid, and back home they'd barely be able to walk without tripping over each other. This system stuff was definitely a bit weird and abstract, but Vita couldn't deny how helpful it was. Especially since, for some insane reason, nothing in this damn world had a soul. Her army was made out of dregs because she couldn't make anything but dregs. If not for the Horde Queen class, she'd be sunk. Her other class seemed like kind of a dud. More blinding explosions thundered nearby as Vita mounted a raptor zombie, riding it as her force approached. Anything capable of unleashing magic that powerful would easily overpower an unknown section of her horde, but Vita was hardly above letting her minions tire whatever it was out, especially now that the system changed the stakes. Her entourage leaped over the half-vaporized bodies of her former minions, and she raised a hand. "Soul reclamation," Vita muttered, feeling a leap in power as the shattered dust of her broken shards spiraled towards her in a radiant swirl. At least she wouldn't lose any parts of herself invested in the dregs, even if they got smashed to dust. Still, Vita hated this damn world. There was nothing here she could feel with her soul sense. Nothing but her. Which was why she ended up so surprised to find a human shooting the explosive blasts at her army. Threat or a potential ally? It probably depended on their opinion of animancy, considering that she was currently riding a zombie. Without her soul sense, Vita couldn't get a good handle on how powerful this armored kinemancer was, but the way she was tearing through the raptors like wet tissue paper felt like a pretty good hint. Just to be safe, she quietly subvocalized an order, letting voice of command carry it to her minions. Hidden zombie raptors started circling around to flank the human. If things went badly here, they'd be able to attack her from all sides. Given the wary distance she was keeping from the dregs, she wasn't a close-in fighter. Probably since she'd just blow herself up with whatever that offensive kinemancy spell was. The human noticed Vita, immediately identifying her as the source of the zombie raptor plague by merit of her riding one of them, and shouted her way. "Oi! You! Call off your raptors!" she yelled. Oh, hey, she was talking. Vita decided to take that as a good sign. "Okay." Vita answered, glancing over at her attacking zombies. "Stand down." The raptors immediately halted in their tracks. Elaine blinked in surprise. That didn't usually work. A quick long-range identify picked the girl up as a mage, maybe in the high 200 low 300 range? A potential threat, but unlikely to be a big one. Hi. I'm Elaine," she said, waving a hand but not coming closer. A cape, seemingly made out of stars, appeared on her back. "What's your name?" "Vita," the girl muttered in answer, not meeting Elaine's eyes. Getting a good look at her, Elaine realized this Vita seemed barely 13 years old, the poor thing. Although she was also armed and armored to the teeth and surrounded by an undead raptor army, so point in her favor there. None of her equipment seemed to be metal, though, for whatever reason. Maybe it was cultural, like the dwarves? Vita. Cool. "So do you know where this is, kiddo? I seem to have gotten yoinked again, and I have no idea how to get home." "I'm not a kiddo." Vita grumbled, eyes narrowing. Why do people keep calling her that? And no. I have no idea. This place is weird and the sky is empty and blue and something called the system keeps screaming in my ear and nobody has a fucking soul. Why doesn't anyone have a soul? I am pretty sure I have a soul, Elaine insisted, raising an eyebrow. It wasn't like she could have gotten flung through the ether and drop-kicked into Palos without one. And, wait, are you from somewhere without a system? Oh man. Are you from Earth? Vida blinked. You mean like the ground? Guess not, Elaine muttered to herself. World traveler. Gotta be more than one place. Plus, there was that whole mess with the fairies and those other people at one time. Elaine snapped her fingers. Fairies. Did any fairies do anything to you? Vida scowled. That depends. Are fairies like tiny assholes with bug wings that never answer any questions? Elaine looked more than a little nervous at that description. Fairies are wonderful people who simply enjoy a few harmless pranks now and then. Yup. Elaine locked eyes with Vida and slowly nodded twice. Or, she tried to lock eyes with Vida, but Vida seemed distracted, not looking in her direction. They're of the most perfect tiny size, she said, pinching her fingers together in roughly the size of a fairy. And they're the most beautiful, elegant, gorgeous people ever, with enough power to pull a half-dozen people from different planets into one spot for a practical joke. Aren't they just amazing? Elaine was slowly shaking her head at the last part, praying to Papillion and all the other gods and goddesses in the great sky above that this Vida would pick up the hint. Vida did not pick up the hint. No, can't be them, then, she concluded. Mine were annoying assholes. They stuck me with a bunch of dumb skills, talked like crazy people, and then I ended up getting attacked by whatever these things are. She motioned at her menagerie of undead dinosaurs. I got excited when a few of them shot lightning at me, but of course they can't replicate the trick once I'm controlling them. Fucking dregs. Elaine face-pumped. Right, what did your totally not fairies ask you to do? For all I know, they told me while I was asleep, and considered it fair game. Then again, this is still Palos, I could just try to find my way home normally. Elaine muttered to herself. Do you have any sandals on you? That is certainly a question a person could ask someone that just attacked them with zombies, Vida thought to herself. I'm sure you are going to be shocked to learn that I do not, she deadpanned, kicking her legs lightly to show off her leather boots and greaves. Is that really an important question right now? Well, if by some miracle you did, I could fly and look around. Elaine said, as if acquiring sandals equaling flight was the most normal and reasonable thing possible. Guess I'll have to climb a tree instead. Ook, I am a monkey. Vida blinked, not sure how to respond to that. Have fun, I guess? She hedged. If you can find a spire of stone in the direction of whatever the fuck a setting sun is, that'd be a big help. Apparently the assholes are keeping me hostage here until I kill something there and claim a prize for them. Elaine was already halfway up the tree, moving far faster and more nimbly than Vida would have given her credit for. Do you not know what a sunset is? Elaine asked, as she slowly scanned the horizon. Do you not have a sun? Are you some sort of mole person, living under a planet? Is that why you're short? Elaine was finally taller than someone. Finally. Firstly, fuck you, I'm still growing, Vida snapped. Secondly, the only kind of son I know of is the family member. Thirdly, no, I'm not a goddamn mole person. And fourthly, what the shit is a planet? I've heard you say that word twice, but I have no idea what it means. Elaine slowly looked down at Vida. Mostly because she was still in the tree. She blinked. Why don't you tell me about where you live, and we'll compare notes while we walk that way? She said, pointing in a direction. Saw some big fuck-off temple-looking thing, which is probably where we should go, one way or another. Elaine then just jumped out of the tree, nimbly slowing herself down with little flares of starlight steps that appeared under her feet. Huh? Vida muttered, watching the scintillating magical flares. You're a really powerful kinemancer, aren't you? Well, we don't have to walk if you don't want to. Feel free to pick a zombie, any zombie. She casts a hand out to indicate her horde of unblinking, unliving reptiles. I promise they don't bite. Unless you do anything stupid. Elaine shrugged. If they don't bite my head off, I'll be fine. I can just regrow stuff. Vida eyed Elaine, wondering exactly how that worked. Why would you tell me that? Also, wouldn't you just starve if I had them keep biting you? Maybe, but you'd have to bite me a lot. I'm pretty mana efficient. But where do you get the mass from? It's created from mana. Vida's eyes went wide. What? That was incredible. The possibilities were endless. How efficient is it? She asked excitedly. If you cut off your arm and then eat your arm, is that enough food to regrow your arm again? Less? More? I bet if we chopped off enough of your body parts and I hid soul shards in them we could create a mass enslavement trap zone. What about blood loss? Do you get dehydrated? Can you create water too? Oh shit, I'm so happy I found you. I thought I was going to starve out here. Elaine looked at the raptors they were riding on, and back at Vida. Starve? Really? She asked with a quirked eyebrow. Also, I'm attached to my body parts. Pun intended. Yes, I can regrow more. No, I don't plan to lose an arm. Even if it's for, Elaine stumbled over good cause, because really, she couldn't see it that way. Let me be an endlessly regrowing food source for the hungry off-worlder was low down on her to-do list, no matter how friendly and disarming said off-worlder might be. Of course I'd starve. I don't recognize any of these plants and I don't know the meat-treating spell, Vida explained, as if that were some common sort of thing. Although, I guess you have a good point. If you're strong enough biomancer to regrow limbs mid-combat and form matter out of mana, which I thought was impossible, but I'm assuming it's one of these weird skill things, you probably can make meat safe. We can eat one of the zombies if you want. Hey. She pointed at one of the raptors and snapped her fingers. Head to that lady over there, rip your arm off, and give it to her, would you? Elaine's eyes bugged out as the raptor did exactly that, a sick tearing sound echoing between the trees as the arm's bones and tendons were ripped out of the shoulder. It politely offered her the morsel with its remaining forelimb. Thank you. For your arm. Elaine managed to choke out, minding her manners. She held the arm up, and let golden, burning light emit from her hand to the arm, starting to cook it. Why are you doing that? Is that your meat prep magic? Vida asked. No, this is cooking it. Because I like cooked food. Meat's generally safe to eat, except for parasites, bacteria, possibly prions if you're real unlucky. Cooking handles almost all of those. Ascaris, Listeria, Salmonella, and probably a dozen different tropical diseases I don't know about. Never heard of any of that. What about heat-resistant magical diseases? Vida asked seriously. Elaine shrugged. A possibility? Worst case, I'll just heal myself, she said, taking a huge bite of roasted raptor wing. Tastes like chicken. Wha. Give me some. Vida complained, spurring her riding raptor closer. Sure, here you go. Elaine said, handing over the roasted arm. Let me know if you want any healing. Sure, I'll take free healing. Mom always said to take everything free you can and to never piss off the healer. Or was that make everything free? It works either way. Elaine looked at Vida, amused. Gotta eat the arm first before I try healing you with any problems the arm can cause, yeah. Oh, right. Vida took a brief moment to decide whether trusting this random stranger was worth eating zombie flesh over, immediately decided that yes, obviously it was, and chowed down on the chicken wing. Raptor arm. Right. Healing please? Vida said. Elaine just glanced at Vida, making sure both were in sunlight. Then her jaw dropped. What the hell? She yelled. Are you even human? Healing you just drained every drop of mana I had. Elaine seemed to check something floating in the air, then did a double take. And what's up with my mana regeneration? You're a human, right? Vida shrugged, taking a moment to swallow her zombie flesh. Depends on who you ask, she answered frankly. Why do you care? I thought you said you were something called a monkey. Because my healing has efficiency factors. If I can imagine what I'm doing? More efficient. If I'm closer to you, or touching you? More efficient. If I'm healing something small, rather than large? Less mana. The more human someone is, the more efficient I am. Restoring an arm takes a few thousand points. You? For an internal bacterial problem that might not even be there. Elaine leaned in, intensely studying Vita, drinking up every detail about her. Over 100,000 mana gone in an instant. Vita. Are you sure your system says you're a human? Vita FRONWED, following Elaine's lead and glancing at something invisible in the air. My race category just says a bunch of gibberish characters. I just thought the whole thing was broken or something, though. I mean, my mana is listed with a period and an E and shit like that. Not even real numbers. Elaine's mouth opened, paused, and closed again. Open. Pause. Close. Yeah, okay, I'm going to call the race thing a bug and say that's why healing you is so inefficient, she said. Don't lose an arm or anything, I'm not sure I can regrow it. What about my mana? Elaine shuddered. Please tell me the numbers after the E are small. Please. She begged. It says 9.453770. 43. And my mana regen is negative 1,000 something. Elaine just shook her head. Right. Negative mana regen can kill you, if you let your mana get to 0. That'll happen for you in. Elaine twitched her fingers a few times. I stopped counting at a few trillion years. You'll be fine. That's a long time, Vita opined. But you said it was just broken, right? The race sounds like a bug. The mana. Elaine shuddered, changing the topic. How about we get a move on to that ziggurat? Also, do you have some sort of mana regeneration buff? My numbers are going crazy. Vita shrugs. I think so. My Infinity Beyond the Veil skill might be doing that. Kind of a pretentious name, right? Whatever brought me here picked all my classes and skills without giving me a say in the matter, so I'm not totally sure what everything does. This mana class seemed totally pointless since people can't run out of mana anyway, but I guess you can. I bet that sucks. Also, how come it's purple? Elaine gave Vita a look. Okay, so maybe the girl was a lot stronger than her level let on. So, about telling me where you're from? Oh, right, I mean, I don't know if there's much to say. I'm from Verdantop Island? Country of vodka? Elaine answers Vita with a kind of flat, blank look that made it clear she had never heard of those places. Have you heard of either of those places? Vita asked anyway. Elaine sighed. The girl was more than a little strange, not picking up on expressions, only rarely emoting, and never making eye contact. She was probably somewhere on the autism spectrum. That had to be rigid in the type of medieval society that the girl's equipment seemed to imply she was from. No. I have not, Elaine clarified. You mentioned something about the sky being the wrong color and not knowing what the sun is, so I imagine we're from different worlds entirely. Yeah, my sky is yellow, Vita confirmed. And all the other islands are visible above, while you guys have nothing. It's weird. Is this not like one of the top islands, or something? Oh. Maybe it is. Maybe you guys can run out of mana because we're super far away from the Mistwatcher. See, now it's my turn to ask you what that is, Elaine prompted. It's the big massive eyeballs and tentacles tens of thousands of miles across that you see when you go to the edge and look down? And gives people souls, though. I guess you don't have one. I still definitely do, Elaine protested, though Vita ignored her. Still, a massive eyeballs and tentacles tens of thousands of miles across. What the hell? What kind of insane Lovecraft world is this girl from? Also, the planet we're on has no edge. What happens when you walk in one direction forever then? Vita asked instantly, since obviously there had to be an edge somewhere. Maybe they just hadn't found it. You end up back in the same spot, Elaine answered easily, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Vida hesitated, wanting to argue more, but decided to leave it be. As long as she never saw the edge, what did it matter to her? So, okay, maybe we're not orbiting around the Mist Watcher at all, Vida admitted hesitantly. But what does that mean? Where are we? Is this your world? I think so, Elaine said. Although we're a long way from where I'm used to. This world is called Palos. Ooh. Yeah, Palos. That's where the naked flying asshole said I am. Elaine winced. Please stop calling them that, she begged. We really do not want to make them mad. Vida frowned, looking around. I guess I need them to get home, so that's fair. Do you think they're listening to us? She asked. Gods, I hope not, Elaine thought to herself. Instead of answering, she spurred her raptor on, trying to make it go faster. The lifeless construct reacted by not reacting at all. You okay there? Vida asked. Are you trying to make it go faster? Let me speed up. The raptor Elaine was on shot off, and she swore as she tried to keep a grip. Raptors weren't exactly made for riding, nor was Vida any sort of master leather worker, able to make a saddle. Vida didn't need one. The dregs carried her with unnatural grace, like she was some sort of royalty, and she seemed utterly unbothered by the bareback journey. Dropping Vida? Literally unthinkable. Mostly due to a lack of brain power. Elaine's butt was not so lucky, but what was ranger training for if not being flexible enough to ride a zombie dinosaur? Dragon Eye Mortist, Part 2. As they traveled, making small talk, comparing notes about the 2-3 worlds they knew about, Vida's undead horde grew. Zombie raptors jumped and tore apart other, lesser creatures, bringing the kills to Vida like a particularly proud gaggle of cats. Vida didn't even seem to glance at the bodies, but each one brought to her was soon reanimated into her service. Monkeys and snakes, raptors and the occasional crocodile, beasts from the Paleozoic to Cambrian era all joined Vida's ever-growing swarm. I could totally get used to not having to do all the heavy lifting for once. Elaine thought with wide eyes, seeing the numbers grow. At the same time, should I be stopping this? If Vida turns on me, I can't handle that many monsters at once. Especially since I'm pinned to the ground. I should totally ask her to cook another raptor for me, Vida thought. Hey, can you cook another raptor for me? She then asked, hardly want to let anything get between thoughts of food and the potential acquisition of food. But can it start off dead? Like, not moving dead? And not ripping its own arm off? Elaine shuddered. Sure, I guess, Vida answered, shrugging slightly. Stop moving. At Vida's order, the entire raptor horde promptly froze like someone had taken a photograph and made it reality. Elaine nearly flew off her mount at the sudden halt, but held on. Glassy-eyed frozen raptors surrounded her in every direction. Take your pick. Vida told her happily. Elaine face-palmed, but figured this was the best she was going to get, not without another long, awkward conversation. Raptor or something else? Elaine asked, noting the wide variety of animals in the horde. Raptors were the dominant species, but there was enough variety if Vida was feeling spicy. I'm the furthest thing from picky, Vida answered. I'll eat anything you cook. Elaine was getting ideas. Terrible ideas. How hungry are you? Yes, Vida answered, without a hint of humor. Mind if we eat more than one of your one of the, creatures? Elaine was still struggling with zombie. I will eat anything you cook for me. Elaine had a brilliant grin split her face. Right. One jungle smorgasbord coming right up, she said, deftly navigating through the horde, playing discount Noah. Instead of 2 of each animal for an arc, it was 1 of each animal for the ferepit. Vida watched with enraptured attention, a grin widening on her face with each animal Elaine selected. How hungry are you, exactly? Vida asked. You like eating monsters too? My team always thought it was gross. Elaine shrugged. Using mana, well, technically, Regenerating mana is hungry work. I've been away from towns, in the wilderness often enough to just not be picky. When it's do or die, eat or starve. Everything looks like food. Huh. Most of my experience starving has been in the towns. Elaine patted Vida in what she imagined was a comforting way, though Vida mostly just stiffened up at the touch. Well, don't worry about it. I'll make sure you're well fed here, she said, expertly burning through dino joints and roasting each piece one-handedly, then handing it off to Vida. The other hand already had a hot, greasy raptor wing, as Elaine tore into it between words. "We're friends now," Vida declared, and immediately started tearing into the food with startling speed. The impromptu barbecue continued until the pain orb, sun, fell, both young women displaying appetites far outside their weight class. Vida watched with awe at the growing sunset, her childlike face morphing into the greatest display of emotion Elaine had seen on her since they met. "What is that?" "Oh, wow. It's like giant blotches of flower colors in the sky," she announces, raising a grasping hand as if trying to touch one. Elaine glanced over, and with a lazy wave, summoned a mantle of the stars next to Vida. "For closer looking," Elaine said, eyes up at the endlessly spiraling stars above winking into view as the sun finishes passing over the horizon. "Whoa. You're right, the sky is just going dark," Vida whispered, idly pawing at the mantle. "Where's that thing you talked about? Your kinda sky island?" "The moon. It'll come. Just give it time. This is so cool. I still can't believe all the light in your world comes from such a tiny ball. And now all these white dots." Vida stared open-mouthed at the sky, for once her hidden, inner eye being the one of her three incapable of seeing an otherworldly beauty. Utterly entranced, a look of childlike joy and wonder on her face as she tried to trace the stars above, count them, understand them via any sort of equivalent from her world yet coming up empty. And then she saw the moon. Moons. 2 full moons rose above the horizon, washing the land in their baleful red light. 2 moons, with crimson irises and slitted pupils, looking anything like a pair of eyes, overlords of the world looking down upon all the puny mortals below them. A snake, freezing a mouse in its gaze. A dragon, watching the world she owned from above. The dragon-eye moons. For a fraction of an instant, Vida froze, her breath gone. Then an overwhelming terror consumed her features, and she bolted, trying to hide from the sky behind a tree. "Oh fuck, it's here!" Vida hisses. "I don't think it saw me. Elaine, we can't let it see me. We can't. The raptors aren't fast enough to." "Oh shit, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck." "Calm down. Calm down. Breathe," Elaine said, sliding next to Vida. "Okay, talk to me. What's wrong? What's here?" "They are just the moons. They are not going to hurt you." Elaine mentally had a dozen asterisks on that particular statement, but the general idea was correct. Like, if some crazy high-level gravity mage decided to pull them into the planet, yeah, they could hurt, and it could be possible to do. But that was for another day. Elaine was struck with inspiration as Vida continued to freak out. She layered mantle of the stars over her gourmet companion, then lit up with shine. "See? It can't see you now. Just stars and light here." Elaine tried to soothe Vida. "That's the eye the Mistwatcher used to look at me." Vida squeaked, her tone suggesting not only terror but the revelation of some grand secret. "If it glances my way again I might cause another perception event." "What's a perception event? And the Mistwatcher is the big thing from your world, right?" Elaine asked. She didn't wait for an answer. "Look, I have it on good authority that those moons have been there for over 4,000 years. They are just rocks, created by mad gods and goddesses." "Yes. The Mistwatcher is a god. It's the god. And it has at least one eye which looks like that." Elaine debated telling Vida about her experiences with gods and being in the realm of the gods, and how gods tended to stay there, and not really go to Palos. Not unless a divine miracle was requested. She skipped all that, and thought about how Vida described the place she lived. "You normally avoid its eyes?" By being on the island, right? Elaine asked to confirm. Yes, but now it's in the fucking sky. Vita screeched. Sure, but I have an easy solution. Let's bury you in dirt and mud. Then I can't see you. Elaine said matter-of-factly. There was no reasoning someone out of a position they hadn't reasoned themselves into, and Elaine wasn't about to try and play therapist to Vita, and convince her that the moons were harmless. For all Elaine knew, they weren't actually harmless, given their unnatural state and complete and total not how moons should be ness, but that was neither here nor there. She just needed Vita to get through the night, and one night at a time she'd come round, or they'd be done with whatever bullshit the Fae wanted them to do this time. I have no idea if that will work, Vita said hesitantly, and if it doesn't work, you, me, and everything remotely nearby is gonna get annihilated by a 10,000-mile-long tentacle. Okay, do you have any other ideas how to not get annihilated? No. I don't know. It's in the sky. It's not supposed to be in the sky. Maybe a cave. I don't know if a layer of dirt will do much, but I'd feel safer with solid rock between us. Elaine frowned, then brightened up. I've got an idea, she said. Can you let me command the zombies? Vita nodded. Queen's commander, she murmured, uncurling slightly and poking Elaine in the thigh. Necromancer Elaine in the house. Not where I expected to be a day ago, but hey, that's life. Right. You, and you, I need those 3 trees cut down and moved to the side. You, and you. Bring back wood. You and you, find stone. You 4, cover Vita, don't let the eyes see her. You. Elaine started to efficiently bark out orders, like she'd been trained to do it for years. She was used to intelligent rangers though, not the near mindless dregs. Some of her commands were interpreted in interesting ways. No, not like that. Elaine cried out, grabbing her hair in frustration as a raptor brought her a stick the size of her finger. Big wood. Like the trees. Still, with much frustration, grumbling, ordering and reordering, Elaine's vision started to come to life. Charitably, it could be called a giant pile of logs and sticks. Here. Crawl inside. Elaine said, as it started to come together. It'll shield you from the eyes in the sky, and we'll keep making it bigger and thicker while you're inside. Keep you safe. Elaine lasered the leg off of one particularly bad at following commands raptor, fried it, and passed it to Vita. Here, have a bite while you wait, Elaine offered. I am getting way too used to lasering meat off of moving creatures. Vita, for her part, just grabbed the food between her teeth, nodding a quick thank you before scurrying into shelter. From her perspective, hiding behind a tree hadn't gotten her killed yet, so hiding behind a structure of trees should hopefully work the same. Elaine kept working for hours, building the fort larger and larger, hoping that it wouldn't all collapse on itself. She occasionally threw in more pieces of the unhelpful raptor into the center, where a scrawny arm would dart out to grab it and drag it into its maw. Finally, Elaine felt like she'd done enough. She roasted the last few pieces of the raptor, told the rest to guard, and crawled in herself. Hey. It's going to be okay, Elaine said, lying down next to Vita. It's all going to be okay. Elaine closed her eyes. Vita nodded numbly. Well, if it isn't, at least we'll probably die instantly before getting our souls eaten, she muttered. Elaine didn't hear her. She was fast asleep. Wow. She passed out fast, Vita mumbled to herself. When day finally rose, Vita still hadn't managed to do the same. Elaine yawned and stretched, her sleepy eyes going to instantly bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as she applied sunrise to herself. Good morning. How did you sleep? Did the hut help? I hope it helped. It took me and the dinosaurs ages to do. Well, you would know. You were watching. Woof. I need to go burn off some energy. Then let's get to that ziggurat, and figure out what those fairies want. Let's go. Vita blinked the tiredness out of her eyes, mentally cursing Elaine several different ways. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad if a perception event happens now if it spares me her early morning energy. I want a soul. I miss souls. I wish I could eat one to keep me awake, but this stupid place doesn't have any. Vita was still trying to muster the strength to get up when Elaine popped back into the hut, brimming with energy. Oh, I almost forgot. Here is a snake skewer. One of the zombies got it last night. Anna, pick me up. Elaine tapped Vita, pulsing sunrise through her. A jolt of energy shot through Vita, waking her up faster and more thoroughly than anything she'd ever experienced before. Whoa, what the fuck? Vita said suddenly, jumping to her feet. The childlike girl's potty mouth never failed to seem a little out of place. What was that? I feel way better. Sunrise. Elaine happily told Vita. My energy pick-me-up go forever skill. Never leave home without it. She laughed like she made the best joke ever. Vita didn't see how it was that funny. But she couldn't deny it was useful. Either way, between the food, the stream, and the zombie after transportation, Vita and Elaine were off towards the ziggurat in no time. The horde grew fatter than Vita's and Elaine's waistlines, the most impressive part of which was that said waistlines actually managed to grow a little after their legendary barbecue. Each of them seemed remarkably incapable of putting on pounds. They spent the time luxuriously being carted around, feasting on the bounty of the jungle delivered practically to their mouths. Then, like a particularly small, fast, brightly colored and tasty bird, they were delivered to the foot of the ziggurat. It looked old, an ancient relic from before time began. Given the relatively young age of Palos, that was entirely possible. The temple was overgrown with vines, the stone cracking. Each step was bigger than Elaine was tall, and the ziggurat seemed to soar endlessly towards the heavens, which wasn't at all what it looked like from a distance. Now what? Vita asked, more annoyed and impressed by the structure. Elaine shrugged. If it was easy, the fairies wouldn't send us to do it, would they? From what you told me about the tiny assholes, yes they would. Because it'd be funny. Elaine tilted her head, conceding the point. This has all seemed too easy so far, but... Zombies first? Elaine asked. Yeah, sure, they're all replaceable. Vita agreed. But where's the entrance? Vita and Elaine looked around, not seeing anything. They circled the ziggurat, only seeing the giant steps repeated all around. Elaine looked at the overly large stairs, big enough that only Vita standing on Elaine's shoulders would be able to crawl up. One step. There had to be hundreds. What's the bet that the entrance is on the top of the ziggurat? Elaine asked rhetorically. She knew the answer. It was on the top. It was always on the top. Vita sighed, silently agreeing. What a pain. Still, painful problems were what zombies were for. With a few quick, snappy directions, 3 zombies, 2 raptors standing on each other and a third in front of them, formed a climbable step that Vita and Elaine ascended up the first stair, enough of the horde following to make a second step and then a third and so on. The dregs were not kind to their fellows, and the crushing, shambling footfalls of a zombie horde crawling on top of one another required the steps to be frequently replaced as they got periodically pounded into meat mush. Still, eventually the majority of the horde managed to reach the top. When only the zombies forming the stairs remained, Vita simply used soul reclamation to kill them all from a distance, leaving the unfortunate dinosaurs left behind to collapse back into restful death. Again. Turning back towards the entrance, the pair saw that the top of the ziggurat was filled with statues, pillars, and more. A giant golden bell, somehow whole despite the tests of time and the elements, stood proudly in the middle, over the largest statue. Cracked stone with hardy vines that had somehow grown through the little mountain worth of stone were interspersed with little yellow flowers that gently blew in the breeze. Pillars in various states of ruin and decay were scattered in neat columns along the top, clearly having performed some ceremonial purpose once upon a time. Statues of Suchia, each statue large enough for Vita and Elaine to comfortably rest in their enormous crocodilian mouths, lined the edges of the ziggurat. They were all facing the centerpiece of the ziggurat, a gigantic monstrous statue, depicting some part Suchia, part fish, part frog with toothy mouths on its shoulders, knees, elbows, and a few other random spots. Wow! Elaine breathed, gazing around the sights. This is quite something. She walked forward, looking at each statue for a moment before moving on to the next one. Yeah, that thing almost has as many mouths as the Mistwatcher's soul. Vida agreed, eyeing the statue in the middle. It's also sucking my mana. I can see it with Eye of the Maw. Elaine paled. That's not made out of arcanite. She realized. So? Vida asked, glancing around the ancient temple with disinterest. So only living things and arcanite get mana? She yelled. Vida blinked. So it's edible? That's not the right question. Elaine snapped, running back to the stairs. A deafening roar from a dozen different types of mouths burst out behind them, as the Sapactli statue started to chase after the latest offerings brought to its altar. Attack while we climb. Vida ordered the remains of her horde, suddenly changing direction. Without hesitation, Elaine switched from running back to the two large stairs to climbing one of the large pillars with Vida. They scrambled up while the zombies died in droves, seemingly incapable of even scratching the monstrous Sapactli. Elaine's ascent was boosted by her stats, dexterity making sure she never put a foot wrong, speed helping her hands quickly move from place to place, strength letting her haul herself up sooner, and vitality tying it all together. Vida had stats, but also something beyond them as well. It almost looked like Vida was a puppet, her limbs getting pulled around by some force that couldn't possibly be her muscles. Elaine figured there were more pressing things at the moment than worrying about it, though, even as Vida handily beat Elaine to the top. The monster roared, and crashed into the stone column, trying to shake Elaine and Vida loose. The two clung onto each other and the top of the pillar, holding on. Think you can handle it? Vida asked Elaine, deathly calm as she stared down from her perch. Instead of responding, Elaine fired a Nova down at the monster, following it up with a beam of radiance, trying to burn through its eye. Nifty. Vida commented, as Elaine unleashed a burning inferno directly at the furious beast for 10 seconds non-stop. Then, abruptly, she stopped. Fuck, she swore. What? I'm out of mana. Vida shrugged, as if this could not be any less of a problem. Take some of mine? A terrible grin broke on Elaine's face, as she remembered that Vida seemed to have a skill to transfer mana. And somehow had a mana pool measured in fucking tridecillions. It was like a second sun erupted on top of the ziggurat, as Elaine, finally unconstrained by pesky little things like running out of mana, was able to unleash her full, unlimited arsenal. Novas were dropped and exploded, looking like an entire galaxy worth of stars was exploding at once. Beams of radiance mixed with cones and balls, widespread auras and surgical lasers. The air itself started to become uncomfortably hot with the sheer amount of heat and energy that bled off from the attacks. The stones blackened and cracked under the heat, and both Elaine and Vida started doing the floor is lava and my feet are cooking dance. Didn't stop Elaine in the slightest. The Sapactli roared, angered that the sacrifices brought to it were resisting, trying to tear down the sturdy pillar. In its boredom, it had knocked down and smashed most of the pillars on top of the ziggurat that it could. The architects, so long ago, had built the temple well, and what remained wasn't so easily brought down. Especially when being cooked alive. Eventually, the creature, used to being treated as a god, decided to stop sticking around and turned to flee. Oh, no you don't, Vida growled. Quit shooting for seconds. Without waiting for an answer, Vida lets herself fall from the pillar before suddenly kicking off of it, shooting towards the fleeing many-mouthed monster like a javelin. She hit its spear first, to basically no effect on its stat-boosted crocodilian hide. Vida. Elaine yelped in surprise, barely avoiding frying her with a stray nova. What are you doing? Just let it go. Ignoring her, Vida instead pulled out a huge fragment of her own soul, grinning as she pressed it into the body of the monster. With no soul of its own, or at least with nothing that Vida considered a soul for her purposes, nothing stopped her shard from spreading through the monster as if it was just another corpse. Her power strained against the living body's muscles, causing the enormous beast to twitch and spasm as entirely different forms of movement went to war inside it. All right. Vida shouted back to Elaine, leaping off the monster. Now hit it with everything you've got. As big as it gets. What skill is that? Elaine asked, charging up the mother of all Nova. This thing is way too high level to get crippled by one tap of just anything. Vida shrugged, scrambling back up the pillar. No skill, she said. Just part of me. Although I guess if you want to blame a skill for that trick, Elaine didn't wait for Vida to finish talking before unleashing the rest of her arsenal at once. The combination of seemingly limitless Montarrigan, prep time, and a mostly stationary target being all she needed to annihilate the temple owner once and for all. I would say Soul Reclamation is the one I like most, Vida finished, activating the skill and recovering her lost power. Back home I can't get free refunds. The aftermath of the fight left little standing in what was once an altar to the ex-divine beast. So now what? Vida asked, looking at the stones. They were so hot they were warping the air, making the floor look wavy. She could feel her skin start to crack, having nowhere near as much heat resistance as the woman who regularly shot lasers. Elaine shrugged. What did the fairies want? They just said to slay the creature and claim the prize. Didn't say what the prize is, though. Elaine face-pumped. Of course. Of course. It's never easy with them. She looked around the room, trying to spot what this elusive prize could possibly be. Maybe the bell? The enormous golden bell in the center of the room indeed looked like quite the prize. Vida's eyes went wide. Wait, is all of it metal? Yeah, that would be the fucking prize all right. Fat lot of luck we'll have hauling that around, though. Yeah. Why don't we just grab everything up here, just in case? Elaine suggested. Maybe it's one of the statues. Or vines. Or pillars. Or one of the flowers. Vida said, picking one up that somehow, miraculously, survived the scorching inferno Elaine had unleashed on top of the ziggurat. 3 tiny flying assholes popped in around Vida the moment she grabbed the flowers. The flowers. The flowers. One cheered. She got the flowers. She wins. The second one cackled. Plant genitals. Just the thing. The third one swooped in and grabbed the flower from Vida. You, said Vida, wrinkling her nose. So, I guess I got your prize. Do I get the prize? Yes, of course. One said. You can see my tonsils. A most rare and valuable prize. You're what now? Elaine face-pumped. The back of her throat. That's dumb. Elaine cringed at that, while the fairy laughed in Vida's face. Too slow. You had the chance to see, and you did not. Like that, your prize vanishes. If you guys had souls, I would shatter them, Vida grumbled. From me, I give you courage. The next fairy said. No more will you fear to walk in the jungle. No more will you cower in your home. Vida frowned. I'm a hunter. I already regularly go into the forest. She pointed out. Plus, didn't you see what I did to this jungle? The fairy giggled. See? The best gift ever. Elaine was coming round to Vida's way of thinking. Complete assholes and would kill if I could. From me. The fairy paused for dramatic effect, before realizing. Hey. You jerks let me go last. He complained at the other two, who giggled at his misfortune. Too slow. The first one said, zipping around him. Lazy bum, the second one sang. He just grumbled. Go home. He yelled at Vida, who popped out of existence. Elaine's eyes bugged out. If it's not too much trouble. She said. The first fairy sneered at her. You're already home. Go fly back. I can't fly. I didn't bring my sandals. Elaine complained before being struck by inspiration. Hang on. Send me back, and I'll tell you a secret, she said, dreading making a deal with the Fae, but not seeing too many other options. Besides spending decades trying to get out of the place. Fairies liked secrets, right? Ooh. A secret. Tell me, tell me. No, tell me. Elaine held up a finger. Ah. Send me back first, then I'll tell you the secret, she insisted. The secret will be mine. One of the Fae yelled, popping Elaine back to her home. Okay, now tell me the secret. The Fae demanded the empty air. There was, of course, no response. Hello. I'd like my secret now. Chapter 81. There you two are. Nora runs our way as soon as Penelope and I enter the guild hall, giving us a friendly wave. Everyone else is with the boss already. It looks like our mission this time is going to be real big. Of course it's big, Penelope scoffs. Every mission is going to be big with a third of the guild dead. The singing lady told me we're going after that talking Hiveric monster we let get away last time, I say. I sure hope if that's true, we aren't going alone. We don't really have the firepower to put that thing down. Oh, I wouldn't worry about firepower this time, Nora answers with a grin, leading us into the room where everyone else is standing. I assume she means that the 3 super powerful souls inside are going to be part of our team. I'm definitely a fan of that. Any of them feel like they could match that creepy monster on their own. I recognize them, though I'm not exactly sure from where. One soul like a dark whirlpool, another a glow of pure heat, and the last one feels like some sort of bladed pastry. A sword cake. I like that one, that one's my favorite. Welcome Penelope, Vita. The branch leader says, opening his arms to us in greeting. This is Alan, Matteo, and Netta. Your teams are going to be joining each other for this mission. We've met, Penelope dismisses. We were all in here to decide distribution on the last mission, remember? Please make sure you're getting enough sleep, Karen. Who's Corin? I ask. Everyone in the room turns to stare at me. That would be me, the branch leader says. Oh. That makes sense. Orville, how is your team still alive? The Whirlpool Soul person says. Netta, I'm guessing, since I think Alan and Matteo are boys' names. She's much more competent in the forest than she is in the conversation, Master, Orville answers, diligently coming to my defense. Vita, what's your sensory range up to? About 750 yards, I answer immediately. Wait, the heat-souled man says. Before the last mission I explicitly remember you saying 450. Yeah, that's right, I agree, staring at him blankly. I improved. I'm hoping to get up to 800 this trip. Vita recently got reprimanded for spending a few days in the forest alone, Nora adds, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. She's a genius hunter. Don't worry about the vacant expression. Vacant expression? I ask. Wait a minute, I got reprimanded? You receive less pay the days you're in city but don't report in, the branch leader. Coron, I guess, answers. New policy. Do I at least get a cut from that pentapede hide I brought back? He sighs. Yes. You do. But anyway, regarding your actual mission, it's clear that our traditional team compositions are no longer effective against the current threat. So we are switching to a new strategy where we combine multiple complementary teams into larger forces that take on fewer missions. It's not ideal, but we need to focus on success rates even with the dire number of missions coming in at once. I won't lie to you, we have been getting crushed out there. Templar squads are coming back barely intact, and the king is considering placing us in a state of war and mobilizing the army. Your mission is fairly simple. Find and slay the monster that killed Second Lord and Second Lady Tefton in New Talsey. As well as every damn Vrothizo between here and there. Everyone except Penelope and I nod in affirmation. I glance in her direction, quickly realizing that she doesn't want to vocally admit that she also has no idea what that word is. What's a Vrothizo? I ask. It's the name of the evolving creatures from Hiveric, the branch leader answers. Apparently one of the off-island traders recognized them, and they had very bad news for us. Not only do these monsters grow fast, but they breed fast too. The larger they are, the more eggs the females can lay. So we're dealing with a potentially exponential threat here. It is imperative that you seek out and slay as many of them as possible. We all nod. I'm not sure how to feel about this revelation. On one hand, more food for me. On the other, well, I just wish the food wasn't so frighteningly competent at biting back. These Vrothizo are capable of damaging souls, which really puts me on the back foot against them compared to every other kind of monster. As dangerous as they are, however, my plan doesn't really change. I'm going to outgrow them. I won't let them stand in my way. Shall we head out, then? Mr. Swordcake Soul asks. Or does anyone have something they need to take care of before we leave? If you have any loved ones, it may be a good idea to visit them, just in case. I'm good, Orville grunts, glancing up at Netta. My mom's on the way, if that's all right, Nora says. We live on one of the farms outside the walls. I think it's the same direction. I should definitely go say goodbye. Bentley insists. I'll be right back, I promise. In that case, I should go apologize to my girlfriend, Fire Soul Guy sighs. I won't be long either. They run off, the rest of us exiting the room somewhat more slowly after them. What about you, Vita? Nora asks. Gonna go visit the kiddos? Nah, I shrug. I'll be back to see them afterwards. It's best not to be overconfident, Cake Soul says. Any of us could end up in the Mistwatcher's clutches before mission's end. You should meet him without regrets, if it comes to that. I snort incredulously, not bothering to respond. Vita isn't exactly what you'd call religious, Penelope tells him, chuckling lightly. And neither am I. We have no intentions to end up dead, and I've no one to tell anyway. We won't hold you up. Now Penny, I expect that from, Nora says, but you're really not religious at all, Vita. I told you not to call me Penny, Penelope grumbles. Why would I be? I ask. The church has never done anything for me. But how can you not believe in the Mistwatcher? You've been to the edge, right? I scowl over Nora and the Cake Soul Guy, both of whom seem a bit confused and disappointed in me. I mean, I know there's a Mistwatcher, I tell them. The islands certainly only exist because that thing tolerates them, and I know it gives people souls and takes them when people die and all that shit. I just don't want to worship it. Alan scowls as I call his god that thing, apparently less than pleased by the description. Oops. Huh? Nora murmurs. I don't know, I just find it comforting. I'm glad that my family is in a better place now. I really don't want to talk about that, I grumble, unwilling to correct her. Nora's eyes go wide as she misinterprets what I meant. Oh, shit, I'm so sorry, Vita. I shouldn't. Sorry. I sigh. Angelian. Nora thinks Angelian's soul is with the Mistwatcher, but I'll never let that become a reality. It's fine, I tell her. Let's just talk about something else. Nora looks around, awkwardly scratching her head as she seeks another topic of conversation. So. Orville. And? Netta, right? Is she your teacher, Orville? He nods. Master Netta taught me everything I know, he confirms. She basically does what I do, except 1,000 times better. I suppose that's one way to describe it, Netta grunts. You call her master? Penelope asks. Seems a bit old-fashioned for an apprentice. He calls me master because I bought him, Netta answers, crossing her arms. He's my slave. A Sigdian. You'd best have improved yourself since last time, Orville. Orville smiles a little at that, nodding. You're going to be impressed, Master Netta. I promise. Wow, that's a lot at once, Nora breathes. How come you never told us you were a slave, Orville? He sighs. I mean, it's not really relevant. I hold a normal job the same as the rest of you. My birth parents were both prisoners of war, so I never really got to meet them. They weren't legally allowed to have me, so I was sold off. I hardly remember any of it. Master Netta is basically my mom. Netta claps him on the back of the head. None of that, she snaps. No one else was going to buy a talentless foreign brat like you, that's all. You were cheap. Yeah, he answers, smiling to himself. What's a Sigdian? I ask. Also, woo, slave buddies. Woo, Orville responds flatly, half-heartedly raising a fist in a cheer. Sigdia is one of the countries we fought a war with 40 years ago, Vita, Penelope answers. We defeated them, claiming a significant amount of their former territory, and understandably we have had poor relations with them ever since. Orville has white hair, as I'm sure you've noticed, which is a trait mostly exclusive to native Sigdians and Baldons. Huh? I say. What's a Baldoni is the other country we fought with, Vita, Penelope sighs. Although they have, of course, cut off all reasonable possibility for either alliance or hostility, so they're mostly out of the picture. Neat, I decide. Eventually, the others return, and our mission officially begins. Nora runs off to a nearby farmhouse after we exit the city, catching up with us before we hit the forest proper. Conversations start, our team notably unafraid of the shallow parts of the forest, and before I know it a few hours have passed on our journey. Ugh, she's just so pissed and I don't know what to do about it, Matteo complains loudly. He's been doing so the entire trip so far, though I mostly haven't been listening. If she is not going to figure out what it means that she's dating a hunter, the hunter shouldn't be dating her, Alan answers. You work too hard to be going home to someone that berates you for working too hard. I know. But I can't just dump her. Other than this one problem, she's amazing. Ah yes, Netta prods, other than the one small problem of her personality, she's amazing in bed. Netta. Alan chides. What? I'm just translating for the kids here. Am not a kid, I affirm. Yeah, well, at least she's that much, Netta, Matteo snaps back, rudely ignoring me. Watch his eyes, never date your coworkers. This way, I say, pointing towards the next closest monster I can detect. With 3 senior hunters on our side, the parts of the forest close to the city are no trouble whatsoever. In the interest of optimizing my power gain, I'm purposefully steering us all into monsterness. Between myself and Team Swordcake Soul Guy, things haven't been difficult until very recently. As the day drags on, we get deeper into the forest and I start feeling souls that we do actually need to make sure we avoid. As tempted as I am to go after bigger and bigger prey, my self-preservation kicks in eventually. If things get too hot to handle, I can't throw an army of disposable zombies in as a distraction. Instead I have an extremely not disposable team that mostly thinks animancy is evil. Besides Penelope, I guess. I don't know what this one is, I inform the team, but it feels big and slow. I'm not even sure if it knows we're coming, and we're getting pretty close. Oh, okay, it's coming towards us now. As if on cue, minuscule crystals of frost starts to creep over bits of the forest in the direction I feel the monster. I can't say I'm too surprised. There is a distinct chilliness to the green, slowly oscillating soul, along with an inherent desire to seek out sources of heat. Like, say, us. I think it's some kind of thermomancy creature, I say. Shit, Matteo growls. Hot or cold? Cold, but looking for heat. Watch her, damn it, it's a Frigidozoid, isn't it? I'm putting 20 on Frigidozoid. No bet, Netta sighs, drawing an arrow. I hate those fucking things. You hate them? Matteo whines. I'm useless against these bastards. Does your team have much experience against slimes? Swordcake. I mean, Alan asks. Penelope and I both glance at each other. She smirks. Do we have much experience against slimes? Ah, what a question. Well, yes, but not this kind, I answer, choking down a laugh. What do you recommend? Well, against most we'd just have Matteo incinerate the fucking thing, but the frigid ones are thermivores. If we shoot fire at it, it's just going to get stronger. That's why it's so watch your damn cold, Matteo grumbles. It eats heat. My talent doesn't really cover making things colder, since you're a pathetic excuse for a thermomancer, Netta grumbles. So I can't do much against these things. Hey, shove it up your ass, Netta. Can your talent kill it, Vita? Alan asks. I shrug, putting a hungering shard into my spear with a tendril. Eventually. My talent can kill anything. What happens if we stab these things? Nothing much, unless you do it hard enough to splash them across the horizon. I nod, stepping around a tree to bring the creature in sight. A giant, transparent pile of sludge oozes in front of me, leaving a film of ice everywhere it touches. The similarity to Penta's true form is striking and obvious, although this creature is substantially easier to see both from the frosted terrain around it and from the fact that it is about 3 times my size. It creeps towards me at a glacial pace, though I suspect if I actually touch it, things will go poorly for me. Are these things always this slow? I ask. Maybe we can just walk around it. We could, but it would follow us and catch up when we camp, Alan explains. They are slow, but they never get slower, never tire. They have limitless endurance up until the point they die, and with Matteo here it's unlikely it'll veer off to seek other prey. I sigh, getting close enough to flick my spear inside the thing. Immediately, the shaft of my weapon drops in temperature, and when I pull it out the spearhead is covered in a layer of ice. I did successfully carve out a chunk of soul, however, causing the Ozoid to recoil in pain. It's still too big. It's a shame we don't have the time to study it, Penelope sighs. Ozoids are some of the only truly magical creatures out there, you know. Considering the pervasiveness of mana, it would be expected that many species develop a reliance on it, but this isn't actually the case. They are functional without magic, even if they are capable of magical feats. Certainly, they may lose out on incredibly important day-to-day functions without magic, but they won't outright die. Ozoids are among the only exceptions to this, being completely reliant on magic to even remain intact. I glance at her, a wordless communication passing between us. Oh yeah, I say. Hit me with the mana sight spell, would you? Oh no, they are both smiling, Nora says. Everyone be on guard. Bentley laughs at the joke, but Orville climbs up in a tree to create some distance. We're not that bad, are we? Penelope taps me on the hand and the thick fog of color representing magic of the world descends around my vision. Sure enough, the Ozoid has mana constantly flowing through its entire body, no doubt getting consumed into the spell that allows it to soak up far more heat than basic physics would allow. I kneel down, moving my soul into my hand to stretch my tendrils out as far as I can. Then, I start pulling mana. Arm outstretched, I sink my tendrils into the guppy creature in front of us, then inject it with as much of my mana as I can. With a wretched screeching sound, a whole quarter of the blob around where I'm touching explodes. Goop showers over my companions, and so the senior hunters immediately panic and try to get it off. Maybe the goop normally remains active, but I can tell it's long dead before it touches them and doesn't seem to be hurting them at all. Which is good, because now I'm completely splattered with the stuff. This is why I got in the tree, Orville comments, the only one of us still dry. You didn't know that was going to happen. I snap at him. I didn't even know that was going to happen. I'm not sure why you seem to think that somehow makes it a better idea to stay near you when you try stuff like this, Orville counters. The Ozoid starts slowly flowing away from us, whatever sort of menial intelligence it possesses apparently enough to recognize that it is in over its head. I want to eat it though, so I step forward and shove power into it again. This is great. I can just do this, and it won't make anyone suspicious of me. After all, it's not soul magic. If anyone tries to figure out what I'm doing, it's just going to look like some kind of metamancy, Matteo mumbles, apparently also having turned on monocyte. Yep, Nita agrees. Disrupting the magic inside the Ozoid probably wouldn't be deadly to any other sort of creature, but magic is the only thing holding this one together. Yeah, things don't normally explode when I do this, I agree. Although, I pretty much only figured it out this morning, so maybe it's more common than we think. Another burst of mana into the Ozoid is all I need to weaken it enough for a soul grab, so I gleefully chomp down on it and watch with satisfaction as the rest of its body loses cohesion and spills out over the forest floor. Tasty. Wait, shit, soul grabs are definitely not metamancy. And I'm being watched. Fuck. I hurriedly glance backwards at the two senior hunter mages, feeling at their souls to be ready the moment they try to cast anything. But they just seem mildly perplexed, not aggressive. Of course. Even Theodora didn't identify the snippets of my talent she saw as animancy, because nobody knows what animancy looks like since nobody is allowed to use it. Hopefully this just lends credibility to the metamancy lie. Well, it's dead, I say nervously. Next we should probably go. Something suddenly pops into my radius. One of the Vrothizo, a big one. It's approaching fast from above the trees. Incoming. I bark. Flyer, high threat, contact in 20 seconds. It's a target. I point, running back behind Nora to get in our combat formation. The senior hunters prepare in their own way, absurd amounts of mana flowing into the two casters as Alan readies his blade. A war screech shakes the entire forest, rattling my skull. This is easily the largest Hiveric monster I've ever felt, and I can't even imagine what sort of terrifying creatures it has eaten. I feel another grin blooming on my face. These things might have very strange souls, but they are just as edible as any other kind. I confirmed that on the way here. This is going to be a wonderful meal. If it's big, it won't have room to div-bomb us through all the trees, Alan shouts above the roar. Keep near cover and expect ranged attacks. Sure enough, at his words, a scattered spray of black, bone-like shards tears down through the canopy in a cone-shaped blast, smashing into anything in the way. Hiding behind Nora, Penelope and I are perfectly unharmed. Alan defends Matteo while a swirl of wind redirects all the shards away from Netta. Bentley and Orville, however, both get perforated, the strikes punching clean through their armor, their bodies, and out the other side. Orville falls from his perch immediately, reduced to a bloody mess. Alive, thankfully, but unconscious and on a collision course with the ground. Despite his many wounds, Bentley manages to jump and catch him. Get behind that tree. Alan orders. Bentley nods, rushing that way as Nora follows to give cover to Penelope as she retreats to heal our team. We're just in time, too, as a follow-up spray smashes into the dirt around us just as we make it behind cover. Netta and Matteo both unleash retaliatory fire in the direction of the attack, eliciting a screech from our assailant. It doesn't feel like the monster got more than clipped, however. The dense forest may protect us from getting div-bombed, but the trade-off is that we can't see the fucking thing past it. I can feel it, but the tree canopy is too thick and we don't have a clearing that will give us a visual on whatever is attacking us from above. Both sides are stuck shooting blind at each other. I don't know our odds in a blind shootout, but maybe we don't need one. Nearly every Vrothizo we've encountered is the furthest thing from patient, so perhaps we can bring it down where its mobility should be next to nothing. Sure enough, we don't have to wait long. It's diving. I announce. Port side, dropping below the canopy. Got it. Alan barks, moving to intercept. He must have had the same idea I did, as it feels like he has been waiting for this. Still, I'm not happy with this for some reason. It's incredibly difficult catching the emotions of most Hiveric monsters since they tend to exclusively just feel hungry, but they have some subtlety to them. I can tell they feel pain when hurt, and sometimes they even feel fear when in danger, though this is rarely enough to get them to stop attacking. This one feels a little different. It feels a bit too confident. And as it dives down out of sight, where it should be far too large to fly at all, it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Why isn't it diving on top of us? The Vrothizo finishes its dive, quickly leveling off just above the ground and shooting straight forward, utterly ignoring the half-dozen adult trees in the way. It flies right through them, and I don't even have enough time to shout a warning before black, bladed wings slice through the rock-hard wood that should be protecting us like it's not even there. Nora blocks, her talent is immutable as always. She crashes into the rest of our team, knocking us flat and saving our lives in the process as the dark edge passes above us in an instant. Alan's sword meets the wing head-on and is cut just as easily, leaving the powerful yet suddenly weaponless fighter only an instant to dodge the wing. He barely manages. Matteo and Netta aren't quite so lucky. The last two pieces of our ranged defense die before their pieces hit the ground. Chapter 82. Another screech shakes the forest as I watch a torn-off chunk of Matteo's soul disappear down the Vrothizo's gullet. With him and Netta dead, our ability to strike back at the flying monster is next to nil. Orville is still unconscious, and from my brief glimpse at the monster's absurdly tough hide, I don't know if he would be able to hurt it with one of his arrows anyway. Mateo's soul is pretty fucked up. Nita was killed by one of the wings, dead because she was a little too slow to duck and had a third of her skull carved off. Mateo, however, was bitten in half. His corpse is missing an arm and most of his torso, head and legs both still technically attached to the same body but without a spine between them. A solid third of his soul is outright missing in a single bite. It might be enough to function, but who knows exactly what parts of himself the guy is going to be missing. Sword Cake Guy. Alan, is handling the deaths of his teammates fairly professionally, at least, but with his sword destroyed I'm not sure how much good he'll be in a fight. If that thing bombs us again, we'll need him to be ready. Nora, I order. Sword. Now. What? Nora stammers, glancing my way. I grab Penelope and Orville, yanking them away from the newly created clearing of felled trees and tossing them behind cover right before another spray of black bone shards crashes down around us. It tears right through my armor as I try to leap out of the way, and I get a few nasty gashes in my legs. Throw me your sword. I snap. She recovers from the shock of the attack, thank fuck, and does as I say without further questioning. I shove one of my hungering shards into the blade and then throw it back at Alan. Alan. Catch. He does so without even looking my way, nodding in acknowledgement as his eyes stay peeled on the canopy, face hard. His team and his friends are dead, and he's out for revenge. Good. He's pretty much the only one of us that stands a chance at killing that thing. Another spray of shards explodes around us, but I keep myself and my team in cover. Penelope, ETA to Orville? I snap. 2 minutes, as a conservative estimate. I assume that means the others are dead? Very dead, yes. 2 minutes and 10 seconds, then, Penelope says. You're going to be a lot more important. Hold still. I scowl, but do as she says. Is there something I can do? I rack my brain for strategies. The Vrothizo is up in the air again, pestering us with more ranged attacks, but no doubt it's going to div-bomb us again soon. So if it's going to charge right at us, whatever buff you're casting, give it to Nora, I tell her, shoving my spear tip with an entire cluster of hungering shards. Nora, when that thing comes down on us again, plant and reinforce my spear. Let the motherfucker impale itself. Nora nods in assent, finally having met back up with our cluster after getting knocked over a couple times by the incoming scattershot. Penelope hits Nora with a spell and she takes my spear, moving in towards the monster's likely next target, Alan. The Vrothizo like to go after the bigger soul targets first, and Alan is definitely the strongest one here. Other than the Vrothizo itself. I fucking warned everyone this thing is high threat level. That means stronger than us. A lot stronger. Really. I am definitely looking forward to this meal. There's no chance I'm letting this fucking thing get away, or get the better of me. It's diving again. I announce. Coming from aftport. I point, everyone but Nora and Alan getting themselves flat to the ground. I am well aware that there is a solid chance this thing has more than 2 strategies and we are all about to get completely fucked. But we're just going to have to prepare as best we can and hope we're fast enough when that inevitably happens. The dive comes. With so many collapsed trees all around us, I can see its approach this time and really get a good look at this monster. Pitch black, like every other Vrothizo has been, it descends as a crescent shadow against the trees. Wide and flat, its wings are splayed outward like a giant bat. The front side of the bones giving them shape juts out through the skin, creating an obsidian-bladed edge with magical energy flowing through it like water. The creature barely seems to have limbs, so I don't know how it would land from the air. Claretta reported that Vrothizo never seem to sleep, so perhaps it never does. The monster opens its jagged-toothed mouth as the dive levels off, and in an instant all its speed it had been gathering is turned directly towards us. Or more accurately, towards Alan. Nora is ready, however, bracing the spear against the ground just in time to have it tear into the monster's wing. Its own speed and weight used against it, Nora's talent prevents the spear from snapping as it gouges through the beast. I may have miscalculated how truly massive the Vrothizo is, however. Even with my many shards tearing the life from it, my tendrils find no purchase on the soul as I lie on my back, the wing passing barely a couple feet above me. Worse, my spear gets stuck inside the wing, the tip pushed through the membrane and clear out the other side. As the Vrothizo passes us, it takes my weapon with it. And therefore my last idea on how to kill the damn thing. Along with Alan's life. Perhaps he was blinded by rage and grief, perhaps he made a miscalculation, or perhaps the Vrothizo was simply too fast for him. I wasn't watching and didn't see, but he's dead now, one arm and his entire head disappearing down the Vrothizo's throat. I do note, at least, that he managed to give the bastard one last thing to regret. I feel the shard in Nora's sword wedged inside the creature's mouth, dangerously close to passing through the monster's head entirely. Just not close enough. Fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. From here on out I have nothing but batshit crazy ideas. As we cower from another scattershot, I look up and note with fury that now all the damn trees are out of the way. Netta would have had a clear shot to murder this thing if she had only fucking survived. But no, our goddamn senior hunters had to die in the first 2 passes. What kind of bullshit is this? I guess credit where credit is due, literally all of us other than Alan would have died if not for Nora's talent. But it was just delaying the inevitable. We're out of options, out of weapons since they're all either broken or lodged inside the Vrothizo. All we have left is Bentley's axe, which I doubt will be of any use in cutting the Vrothizo unless it's being held by Alan, and Orville's bow and arrows, which the rest of us aren't trained in using. And the only person that could damage the thing with them anyway is fucking dead. I scowl, taking only a moment to grind my teeth in frustration before I make the inevitable decision. I refuse to die here. If this gets me killed later, well, I'll figure that out then. Nora. I bark. Cover me. We're going to the senior hunters. A thunderous crash deafens us for a moment as Nora blocks a blast from above, staggering as she approaches me. They are dead. She shrieks. I know. I yell back, ears still ringing as I sprint underneath the safety of her upraised shield. Trust me? She swallows, nodding immediately. We start to run, Orville's bow and arrows in my hands, just in case Netta's broke when she had part of her head carved off. You got a plan, V? Nora asks, barely managing to avoid falling on me as another spray from above almost knocks her over. Yes, but you are going to hate it, I mumble. In terms of your talent, do corpses count as objects? Probably. I've never tried. I gather 3 soul shards, each in their own tentacle. Well, try, and also try not to freak out. What does that mean? Vita. Another spray of bone crashes around us, and immediately afterwards I burst forward, tentacle-enhanced limbs drastically stronger and faster than Nora's best pace. Scooping up the souls of the senior hunters, I smash them together with a shard, shove all 3 back into their mangled bodies, and turn to point right up at our ravenous assailant. Shoot to kill, I order, just in case my 3 new revenants need a little push. Netta only has one eye now, a diagonal chunk of her skull from scalp to cheekbone having been sheared clean off over the nose. Even without depth perception and with a brain exposed to the open air, however, her movements lack the slightest touch of hesitation as she retrieves her bow, draws mana, and fires a thunderous shot up at the visible Vrothizo. Her arrow punches a hole right through its left wing, causing the monster to shriek in fury and metalling it with another cone of deadly shards, blasting out from its mouth. Nor having not quite reached us, Alan jumps to my defense, the shards crashing into him with the same clang caused when they hit Nora's shield. I shoot a grin her way, thankful for the timely ranged reinforce that I know is so difficult for her to pull off. It probably saved my life, since the shards had a good chance of punching right through Ellen's body and subsequently my own without her intervention. I don't think she's smiling back, though. Her eyes are locked on mine, and though I cannot see her face through her helmet, the terror, revulsion, and betrayal I feel in her soul paint a clear picture. My smile drops. That's a problem I'll have to handle later. She's on my side for now, which means I and the rest of us all get to live. Netta wastes no time firing another shot, then another, which is followed up by a massive gout of fire from Matteo, having finally used his one arm to flip the top half of his body face up. The Vrothizo's flight finally fails, an impotent scream erupting from the monster's throat as it falls into a tailspin and finally dies as it crashes headfirst into the ground. Gleefully, I run over to pick up its soul as well as the pieces of it my hungering shards have collected. It's genuinely incredible how massive and how powerful this monster has gotten in the short time it's been alive. And now that power is all mine. I start breaking apart the massive, void-like soul into more easily digestible chunks, knowing I don't have a chance of being able to store something this large for later. Not that I want to. Ooh, this is gonna be Vita. What? I snap, glaring backwards. I'm eating here. Nora glances back and forth between me and my revenants, each of whom seem to be examining themselves with a mix of confusion and dread. Matteo can't stand, his legs somewhat useless as only a smattering of abdominal oblique muscle connects his chest to his hips. Without the threat of danger or the demand of one of my orders on his consciousnness, he has defaulted to staring in vacant horror at his own intestines, which dribble out from the wide nothingness where his stomach and ribs once were. Netta flexes one hand, her other feeling at the new cavity in her skull and the useless lump of matter that was once her brain which rests inside. Alan, meanwhile, is completely headless. He seems to be trying to look around, as if he is somehow aware of his surroundings. I suppose, now that I think about it, my revenants are unlikely to have ever been using their eyes to see. It is not as though the eyes still work, even if they happen to remain inside the body. Tell me this isn't what it looks like, Nora pleads. And what does it look like? I ask, sighing. Because it looks to me like I just saved your and everyone else's life. You're welcome. You're a necromancer, she accuses, spitting the word. I know I expected it, but it still hurts a lot more than I thought it would. It's my talent, I growl. I didn't ask for this. I didn't seek it out or learn any of it on purpose. Don't look at me like that. I point an accusatory finger at her, causing her to take a step back. Again, I can't actually see her expression, but I can tell. She's judging me, coming up with all sorts of crazy nonsense in her head. After everything we've been through, is it really all wiped away because of this? There's no such thing as an animancy talent, Nora counters, parroting bullshit as if I'm not walking proof of its falsehood. Well, I have one anyway, I snap. I'm obviously not casting. What do you want me to say? My tendrils finish peeling off an edible chunk of the Vrothizo soul and I slurp it down, shuddering a little as the power flows into me. Netta's head snaps my way, her eyes wide. Yeah, I must register on her danger sense. I shoot her a grin. Only a bit hesitantly, she smiles back. Wow. It feels so nice to have people that are supportive. I believe her, Bentley stammers. Glancing back over where Bentley, Orville, and Penelope are, I see that Orville is healed but not conscious, his head resting on Bentley's lap. Penelope's attention is now on Bentley's wounds, which she is quickly repairing. It's Vita, he says. She's our friend. She just made a bunch of zombies. Nora blurts, her voice shrill. Revenants, I correct. They have to go back to the Watcher. This is wrong. She's trapping people's souls in agony. Agony? I scoff. Hey Netta, are you in agony? Surprisingly, no, Netta answers. Not even the hole in my head hurts. This is a bit surreal, but overall I feel fine. Bentley and Nora both gape at the talking revenant. Matteo doesn't have lungs and Alan doesn't have a fucking head, so they can't talk, but I can ask them later. Not that I don't already know their answer. Look, Nora, I start. I get that this is heresy or whatever, but without Netta, Matteo, and Sword Cake, we will fucking die out here. Right? This is an emergency. We need this, not just for ourselves but to kill the monster currently terrorizing a town. Sword Cake? Penelope asks, raising an eyebrow. I mean Alan. I just can't believe you hid this from us, Nora breathes. You can't believe I hid this from you? I ask incredulously. I just saved your life and you're treating me like I ate your fucking firstborn. Why the fuck do you think I didn't want to tell you? This is exactly what I was afraid of. We've fought together for months now. Can't you give me the benefit of the doubt here? She's right, Bentley agrees. Please, Nora. I'm freaked out too, but it's Vita. It'll be okay. I inhale another chunk of Vrothizo soul, having more than said my piece. I'm a little miffed that Penelope isn't rushing to my defense, though knowing her propensity for scheming she's probably just trying to set up a better situation. Or keeping plausible deniability. Coming from Bentley, the words probably hold more weight anyway. Besides, I don't want to be fucking defending my right to be myself. I just want to finish eating this soul. Is it really too much to ask? Okay. Fine, Nora relents. We'll use them to help save the people of New Talsi. Someone has to, and? Bentley's right. You're still you, V. Yeah. Of course, I confirm, swallowing more soul. I smile a little, feeling out Penelope and finally getting the impression that she's weaker than I am. About time. And you're not gonna just wipe our memory or something? Nora asks. I can't even do that, I say. That's conomancy. My talent only covers necromancy. I bring the dead back to life, sure, but all the really spooky stuff is out of my wheelhouse. Not strictly true, but true enough. Nora nods slowly. Okay, she says. I guess we'll do this. For now. Until we don't have to anymore. But then we need to release these people to the Mistwatcher, okay? I shrug, crawling over the body of the Vrothizo as I physically retrieve the weapon stuck inside it. Miraculously, my spear didn't get smashed to smithereens during the crash, which is quite a relief. I reabsorbed the hungering shards in it and the sword, saving the last bit of Vrothizo for dessert. We can worry about that if we survive, I grumble noncommittally. I doubt this is going to be the last monster between here and New Talsi, not to mention having to deal with that creepy talking one. Fine, Nora relents. I'm sorry I freaked out, it's a lot, okay? I know you're trying to do the right thing, and I'm sorry. We'll talk, okay? Oh, good. I can feel she's gone from purge the heretic to teach the sinner, for she knows not what she does. I suppose it's an improvement. I'll take it. Maybe I can teach her a thing or two instead. Just don't let anyone else die, I tell her. Or re-die, for that matter. Can you keep the revenants protected if they get attacked again? We absolutely need their firepower. I can try, I suppose, Nora hedges, casting another nervous glance in the direction of the undead. I definitely can't protect all three at once, though. That's fine, I shrug. You probably won't have to. Vrothizo seem to target the strongest person first. I finish off the last of the soul, feeling the absurd amount of power swell within me. Holy shit, I feel invincible. Stretching them out, I can see my tentacles reaching up to 6 feet away. My sensory distance is so much farther now as well, though I won't be able to figure out how far until we get home and measure it. I take a deep breath and make an experimental jab with my spear, the might of my soul moving my body so effortlessly that my muscles barely contribute. I'm faster, stronger. Drastically so. Just a few months ago, my eyes wouldn't have even been able to follow the blow. My soul stirs, a threshold of power reached. Something new starts to grow inside me. If they attack the strongest person first, would that not be the undead? Penelope asks. Not anymore, I answer, unable to suppress a grin. 3 people died in this fight, my secrets got revealed to the whole team and there's no way this isn't going to bite me hard in the ass. Yet despite all of that, even though I know I shouldn't, it's hard not to feel it was worth it. Tobe continued. Thanks for last time.